This video contains the interview of an officer who was caught disparaging the chief while in uniform. When Kyle Wooten's ex-sergeant texted and suggested meeting for breakfast, he didn't think too much about it. The two of them had worked together for years, and even though the superior officer had left the department on bad terms, Wooten didn't see any reason why they couldn't remain friends. Several other officers were invited as well, and there had been the possibility of discussing a morale survey for the department. The chief was not a favorite, and with an anonymous survey, they might get the union to force some changes. Instead, they were quickly called on the carpet. Diners in the restaurant had called the department to complain about the officers making disturbing jokes about tasers, and they also said that the chief and other higher-ranking figures were being disparaged. This sparked an internal investigation, and each of the officers was interviewed.
And we're back. If you got your phone, we're going to put it on silent.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And your radio off, too.
Yes, sir, it's
Do
off.
you need to get a different chair?
I can make it like this, sir. I'll be good.
They may be wearing it when we leave.
Yeah, I may peel out of it, but I don't want to try it right now.
I mean, we can, not to get tired of it, but we can
No,
swap
I mean,
it for
you want
that.
to
No,
sit,
this is fine.
I mean,
I'm good.
You got it all weighted down there.
Yeah, I've got it set. It's not made for a wide man in a duty belt.
No, I couldn't even sit in. Okay. Today is May the 20th, 2020, and it's roughly 1:29-ish, 1:28, 1:29. And in the room are Chris Noble, Elgin Police Department.
Kyle Wooten with the Elgin Police Department.
Tiger Hanna representing Officer Wooten.
Okay, and thank you. And the purpose of our meeting today is to discuss an incident that happened on May the 13th in the morning while you were at a eating breakfast
Yes, sir.
at Jalisco restaurant. So, let me get my phones out of my pocket. And make sure they're on. Yeah, that's good. So, what I would like to discuss is the run-up on how you got invited to the breakfast.
Yes, sir.
And any communications or anything of that nature. And basically, why were you there? How, you know, and what was the purpose, and how did you get there? And the focus on this is ultimately your time and attention to duty, because you are on duty at the time in uniform, and engaging in activities that you can't do while you're on duty. You have to be off duty to do it.
Officers are not allowed to discuss anything concerning their union while in uniform, a point which was not made clear during some of the other interviews.
Yes, sir.
With regard to whatever the meeting pertained to that you're aware of, or your perception of it. So, there again, so I'll clarify that. Nobody's saying you can't meet and discuss.
Right.
It's just when you can't do it.
Understand.
Okay. So that being said, guide me through on how all this started. How did you get to know or get invited to a breakfast meeting with David Kurloff?
Right. So I believe it was the 10th. I received a text message that just said from Gerloff, Sergeant Gerloff, or David Gerloff, saying that I want to get a survey set up that just looks at morale for the department.
Okay.
I ignored it. I did receive a text message from Dickerson that said, "Hey, did you get this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure about it."
Okay.
So then the next day, I believe it was, so that would have been the 11th, I received a longer text message, which I have on my phone. I had Marco resend it to me just so I had it there because I wanted it there, you know. And it went into more details of what this survey would be.
When did Marco send you that?
It was right after we spoke with Chief on the 14th.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it was just, I just asked him to resend that to me.
Okay. Let me stop you there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because right after that, later in that afternoon when we were done in my office and I was issuing the do not discuss directives. And I asked you if you had any messages, and you said you had deleted them all.
Yes, no, this was before I spoke with you. This was right after we got out of Chief's office.
Okay.
I had Marco resend that to me.
Okay. But I asked you specifically at that time when...
Well, I can look at it right now. It was 124, I believe, that he sent it to me. So I don't know. No, it was after that. So we didn't do the do not discuss. We didn't sign a do not discuss until I was in your office alone.
Okay.
So
Wooten already knows he is in trouble, and he isn't going to make things worse by having a misstep concerning the do not discuss order.
I didn't have it at that time. I can look at it right now. It was at 1:24 p.m.
Okay.
Or 1:29.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So there had been no do not discuss, and I was not lying to you because I didn't have it at the time.
Okay.
And I told you that I was trying to recover it because I deleted.
Okay.
And
well, would you consider asking him to resend it to you, discussing the case? I know we're equivalent. We're hashing over words right now.
we had not signed anything that was
Okay.
a do not discuss, sir.
Okay.
And all I said was, hey, can you resend this?
Okay. But when I gave you the do not discuss, I asked you if you had any messages, and you said you didn't.
No, not at that time, sir. Whenever I was by myself in your office, and I signed the do not discuss. You did not ask me, sir. I would have told you that I had it.
Okay. So, on the 10th, you got the message.
Correct.
And when did, and Dickerson, repeat that to me about what Jaborst did.
Jaborst just sent me a message, hey, did you see that? And I was like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was to the extent of, I'm not sure about this. And so, I mean, that was the end of that conversation.
When did he reply to you?
I honestly don't remember, sir. It's not there right now, but we didn't discuss it at all because I was unsure about it.
Okay. And and you do not recall what his response was to you?
What Dickerson's response to me was? No, sir, I don't. It may...
well, there was a response.
I'm sure there was.
Yes.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I really don't. It wasn't
Kyle?
a thing. Yes, sir. You're more than welcome to...
No, there's nothing. There's not going to be anything there.
Yes, sir. Well, I really don't remember what Dickerson told me, sir.
Okay.
I know that we didn't discuss it because I was unsure about it. And so then when the big text message came through, the next day I contacted David and said, hey, can we meet up and talk? So he said that he would be in Elgin around 7:45 the next day. We set up a breakfast. I said, yeah. He said, would you like to go to breakfast? I said, sure. I invited Dickerson, and Marco called me and said, hey, what are y'all doing? I said, we're about to go to breakfast with Gerloff. Would you like to come? I don't know. He didn't know what this was about. Dickerson, I'm not sure if he knew what this was about, but we went to breakfast with Gerloff.
Well, it's easy to presume that Dickerson did know what it's about since y'all had already been conversing about it.
There was not conversion about it, though, sir. It was just an easy, hey, did you get this? I was like, yes. I'm unsure about it. And his reply was very, I don't remember, I can't quote it directly because I don't know what it was.
Okay.
Out of all the officers interviewed, Wooten is the most nervous and least believable. This could be attributed to guilt or fear of losing his job.
Remember when I made the comment to you the other day about text messages that had been deleted, that at some point you were going to be asked what the content of those text messages were?
Yes, sir.
And try to ask you to be very specific and try to remember.
Yes, sir.
Write it down or whatever you need to do to recall.
I honestly don't.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to let you take it and see what the text messages were because there's nothing there that was discussed about anything with the department.
Okay. All right. I don't think it'll come to that, but thank you for the offer. All right, so on the morning of, you're on your way, you're going to meet, you've got a predetermined time and place to meet Gerloff, correct?
So he had texted me that morning
Mhm.
and said, hey, do you still want to meet? And I was
Okay.
like, sure. And then we decided Jalisco, and he said, okay, I'm in Maynard. I'm about 10 minutes out, so I made my way over to Jalisco.
Okay. And did he ask you to invite Dickerson, or was that already?
No, that was me.
Okay.
I asked him.
So you asked.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when did you ask him to meet?
Dickerson?
Mm-hmm.
I think we may have been talking that morning, and I asked him, hey, I'm going to breakfast with Gerloff. Would you like to go?
Okay.
I mean, it was...
But he knew what the content or what the topic was going to be, because I'm presuming that he got the same message that you got.
I assume he did, since he texted me and said, did you get that from Gerloff? So
Yeah.
I
Close the
imagine...
loop on that.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So it suffices to say that y'all were both well aware of what the meeting was going to be about before you ever even got there.
Well, I knew that would come up because I had questioned about it.
Okay.
So I can presume that I was going to ask a question about it, yes.
Okay. And did you notify your supervisor?
I just told him that we were going to breakfast, and I told him that it was with Gerloff.
Okay.
He didn't know. I don't know if he ever even got that text, the original text or anything. So I don't know if he was.
Okay. Did you offer any explanation about why you were meeting with a former employee for breakfast?
No, sir. I didn't deem the need to do that.
Would you say that it would be unusual to meet with somebody who hasn't been here since November?
No, sir.
After
No, sir.
getting that text message?
Well, but I don't know who all got that text message,
Okay.
so I can't presume that anybody knew what
Okay.
anything was going on.
Okay. Then, did you told Sergeant Wall that you were meeting with Gerloff, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you tell him what the content of what you believe the meeting was going to be about?
No, sir. We were just going to breakfast.
Meeting with an officer who left the department on bad terms would be looked at unfavorably, even if Wooten had been off duty. But meeting him as a group to discuss a department survey has the chief and other superiors on edge.
Okay. Sergeant Wall didn't ask you.
No, sir.
He asked you no questions.
No, sir. He said, all right. I mean, there was no... I invited him,
Okay.
and he was like, no, because of the two vehicles,
Right.
then... and I told him that Dickerson and I were going,
Right.
so we didn't want to have more vehicles outside.
Okay. And did you call him, or was this done over text messages?
I know that I did send a text to our group, me, Dickerson, and Marco, and Sergeant Walls was involved, that just said, hey, go on to breakfast with Gerloff at Jalisco.
Okay.
So,
About how long was that before you got there?
I honestly don't remember how, it was
20 minutes?
within 30
an
minutes
hour?
of it.
Okay.
Within 30 minutes.
Okay, but you sent that to Marco as well?
I believe I sent it to the group text, yes.
Okay. And who's in that group?
Just the four of us, our shift. So, Wall, Marco, Dickerson, and myself.
And what was the gist of that text?
Exactly that. Hey, going to breakfast with Gerloff at Jalisco.
And when did Marco call you?
I was still on 290. I believe it was within 30 minutes, I believe, sir.
Okay. And what did he say to you?
He just asked hey, what are you doing? I said, about to go to breakfast. Would you like to come?
Okay, but he had already gotten this text, correct?
No. That he was already coming to breakfast prior to me sending that text to Sergeant Wall,
Okay.
or to the group.
Okay.
And that was just, the text was just to inform him, hey, we're going to be 10-6 eating breakfast. Like,
Okay. I'm sorry. No, I'm confused. Who were you sending that to? Let me
it was the group.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, when you spoke with Marco, that was how long before? I think I've already asked this, but drawing a blank. How long was it before your text message was? Or do I got it backwards?
I don't know how long it was. That's a correct order. Marco had already talked to me. Said,
Okay.
hey, what are y'all doing? I said, going to breakfast.
Okay, so then you sent a text out.
Correct.
To the group.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and for the purpose of?
Just informing Sergeant Wall that, hey, I mean, he already knew that we were going to breakfast, but I was telling him, like, we're about to go in to eat breakfast. Like, what time it was.
Okay. And so I'm still confused as to why you would send a text message to a group of people that already knew exactly what was going to be going on.
There's no reason other than saying, hey, we're going to breakfast. I mean, like, and so I just used the group as how to send it to Sergeant Wall.
But everybody knows you're already at breakfast.
But Sergeant Wall didn't know what time we were going or anything like that.
Okay.
So
when did he make that comment to you about, great, that you're going to meet with Gerloff? When did that occur?
Sergeant Wall was not present for the meeting. He was still disciplined because he did not prevent the others from attending while on duty.
Earlier in the morning, I told him, hey, we're going to breakfast.
Okay.
And he said, good, great. I mean, that's not a direct quote, sir.
Yeah. Okay, but that was like, say, here at the station or something?
Yes, sir, something like that.
Who else?
Because I'd already talked to Gerloff, and he was like, let's meet for breakfast tomorrow.
Okay. And who all was part of that conversation?
I'm not sure, sir.
You don't remember who
No.
was standing around?
No, sir.
There's only 4 of y'all at work and a dispatcher.
Right. I don't know if it was at shift change. I don't remember what time it was or when it was.
Was Marco there?
I'm not sure. I really don't. It was not a matter of, like, I didn't deem it important to,
Right.
so
Okay.
it was just a nonchalant.
Okay. All right. All right, so you get to the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and did y'all meet in the parking lot? Did you go inside? What did you do?
Met in the parking lot. Dickerson and I were there. Sergeant Gerloff pulled up, and we just spoke outside for a minute. And Marco pulled up, and we went inside to eat.
Okay. And when y'all went in, where did y'all sit in the restaurant?
It was closer to the back at a table. If you were to walk in, it was one of the center tables on the left side. I believe it was the very back table, but I don't remember exactly.
And how many other patrons were in the restaurant?
At the time, I don't remember how many were there. We may have passed somebody that was sitting at another table, but I don't know for sure.
And was anybody sitting around you?
Not when we got there, no, sir.
Anybody come in and then sit down?
Yes, sir. I remember a female came in who I'd seen before through interactions with the police department, and she sat at a booth. I was sitting with my back towards the kitchen, and she had sat at a booth behind me to the right.
Now, how far away was that?
I don't remember how far. I never actually looked back. I just knew that she had sat back there.
Okay. Okay, so sitting at the table was you, Marco, Dickerson, and Gerloff, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Who started conversation? How'd all that get started? Whatever y'all were discussing.
We just, well, I mean, we did our greetings. We hadn't seen Gerloff in a long time, of course. Dang, you've gotten skinny, blah, blah, blah. He was talking about how he'd got off night shift, and then I don't recall who actually began the conversation of the survey. It was not the discussion that we were there directly to have. It was to meet with Sergeant Gerloff, or David, sorry. And I don't even remember how it came up or what was brought up about the survey. He had already sent that long text that kind of explained a lot, and he just wanted to reiterate, like, hey, this is through TMPA. I want y'all to know this. Just kind of going through the administration stuff of it. 75% has to participate of the department. He, that was all that was really said about the survey. It really wasn't the sole purpose of us having breakfast with him.
As the interview progresses, Wooten becomes even more nervous. He is probably aware that nothing he says will keep him completely out of trouble.
And what the sole purpose, what other purpose was there? Having to breakfast with somebody that you hadn't seen in a few months?
Well, the opportunity arose to have breakfast with him. I mean, he was my sergeant, and so, of course, I still have some respect for him, so of course I would like to sit down and have breakfast with him.
Okay. Did it concern you at all that you were invited to have breakfast and engage in conversations that you're not supposed to have while you're on duty or in uniform?
I didn't know that it was going to be a conversation that we weren't allowed to have in uniform, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean, his text message kind of laid it out pretty clearly what y'all were going to be talking
about a survey to better the department and ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, I knew that was going to be discussed.
Right.
A survey that is through the association.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And what else? Other topics of conversation?
Talking about, just general life, how everybody's doing, what's going on. Okay. Made fun of Marco because he had his hand in his cast.
Right.
He kept on raising his hand.
Okay. Was any discussion held about executive staff of the police department, the chief, assistant chief, myself, or any other member of the department?
Not that I recall, sir. That's...
okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm asking these questions for a reason.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
Okay. When somebody makes a complaint to us that y'all are loud enough for them to hear, and
okay. I understand.
All right, now's the time.
Yes, sir.
Unabashed truth.
I don't recall any conversations about anybody at the department or anything, even from anybody at the table.
Okay. And no comments about the policies, procedures, or any of the Elgin Police Department?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything about our taser policy?
No, sir. Okay. I don't recall anything of anything talking about the department itself. I know for a fact I didn't. So, and I don't see us capable of doing that at the table.
Okay. And there was no discussion about the lieutenant, or me then, the lieutenant, about disagreeing with apparently my rules or regulations regarding the use of the taser?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Okay. And Was there a discussion had about a person who, or criminal thug, or whatever term you want to use, needing to be tased, and that there was going to be an effort made to orchestrate an opportunity to tase this person?
No, sir.
There's not.
No, sir. I don't remember any conversation like that.
Well, what do you remember?
I don't remember a conversation about tasing anybody.
Okay.
The comments about the tasers were what prompted the complaints, but they are barely touched on throughout all of the interviews. More attention is given to anything negative that may have been said about the administration.
I go back to somebody is concerned enough to call here and describe this conversation, and then to the extent that they are scared themselves.
I understand that, sir.
After hearing a discussion is that how we do business, and so they're scared for their safety based upon the description of the behavior that they overheard.
I understand that somebody may have called and said something like that. I don't recall any conversation about any tasing.
It's not
period,
just,
sir.
didn't hear it just from that person.
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying, sir. I don't recall any conversation like that.
Okay. What other? And I go back to what else did y'all discuss? And how long y'all were there? What? 35, 40 minutes?
I don't remember how long we were there, sir. I really don't.
Okay. Did y'all check out on the radio that you were for your meal break?
I'm not sure. I don't remember if I did or not, honestly.
Are you supposed to?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then go back in service as soon as you're done with your 30-minute meal break?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do that?
I don't recall.
Okay. Because that would tell me.
How long? Understandable.
Did anybody else make any comments about the use of the taser, about targeting a specific individual?
I do not recall, sir. I don't remember any conversation about a taser, so I can't say if anybody said anything about a taser because I don't even remember if there was. I don't remember a conversation about a taser, sir.
All right. Then, how did the meeting end?
I believe Marco stood up. Marco was the original one to stand up, and we all followed suit, went up to the front, paid, and went out to the parking lot.
And then what?
We stood out there and talked a little while, just saying our goodbyes and everything, and then I don't even remember who left first, but we all pretty much simultaneously left. I mean, that's...
Okay. All right. Was there any discussion after y'all left later in the day at the meeting?
I may have said something to Sergeant Wall about meeting over there and talking about a survey, that it was just I mean, it wasn't like a direct, hey, there's this survey, blah, blah, blah. It was just, hey, it was probably to the extent, and this is not a direct quote because I don't remember for sure, but it was probably to the extent of their girl ops wanting to do this survey.
Okay. All right. And any text messages or anything of that nature?
I don't believe so not about the survey. I mean, we're always texting.
Okay.
And not about the breakfast. I don't believe so, sir.
Okay.
And that's not to say that there wasn't, because I don't remember. It really was not a impactful time of my life to remember everything. It was a normal day of going through, going and eating breakfast, and then continuing the day.
Okay. And going back to, other than greetings and salutations, and then talking about the survey and what's going on in other people's lives on a superficial level.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that was discussed.
I don't recall anything else that was discussed that may have been about anything of a taser or of bad-mouthing the department or anything like that. The questions you've asked me, I don't recall anything like that, sir.
Did Chief South's name come up in the discussion?
I'm not sure. If so, it would have been, of course, Gerloff saying it. I mean, because he brought up his appeal,
Mm-hmm.
so it may have been said there, but I don't recall whether it was actually said or not.
Okay. Chief Taylor?
No, sir. I don't recall.
My name?
No, sir. I don't recall.
Any other supervisor?
No, sir. I don't recall because, like I explained before, I don't remember anything being said about the department or...
Okay. Any other topics that you can recall?
No, sir. It was
Okay.
a pretty normal breakfast, sir.
Okay. I'm still trying to get my arms around how somebody who...
Perhaps a little too concise. It is hard to believe someone from another table could repeat the conversation almost verbatim, or that they would even bother mentioning the department survey.
overheard these alleged comments.
Right.
There's clear and concise recollection. And you don't. And what I'm getting at is somebody's lying, pal. Either the complainant is or you are.
So there's no lying being done. It's about, I mean, it was a normal breakfast conversation, so why would it be impactful enough for me to remember everything said at this said breakfast?
Okay.
I mean, so if it was impactful enough for somebody to think that they, or to allege these things, then they have that right to complain about anything that they want in the city.
Okay. But, there's a difference between, I'm trying to think of the right word, blather, jibber jabber, big talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. If any part of that conversation, it was just shit talk. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, sir, and it still doesn't come back to me remembering anything about a conversation about that I feel would scare a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, do you think there was anything discussed that would have given somebody the perception? We all know what perceptions are.
Of course.
And I don't mean it's the reality, but that's what they interpreted as.
Of course.
That there were topics discussed or comments made at the table that you felt weren't of any real importance, but given the world we live in, if a reasonable or a person who might be nearby may have heard those comments, that it would be alarming to them.
I don't recall any conversations like that, sir.
Okay. All right, Kyle. That's all I got for right now. And it's 2 o'clock, and I'll ask you real quick before you got anything else you want to add or anything before we
No,
conclude
sir.
the meeting?
No,
Okay. Most likely we'll have some follow-up questions for you.
Okay.
And we'll schedule that ahead of time with you this week. Okay. Let Mr. Miller know, or somebody else that can be here to represent you.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. And I got to make sure it's 2 o'clock still, and this interview's concluded.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'll let you get out of there.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad. You pulled it off. Ripped that half your ass cheek off.
Yeah.
All right. I'll add this to the collection.
Yeah.
Okay, more of your cards than anybody else's. All right. Very good. Did Chief say you want to talk to you or anything?
I already talked to him.
Okay, very good. Did y'all want to visit before you go? Because if so, if you want to stay in here, I'll go shut the machine off.
No.
Okay. All right, very good.